If I made a list of my top 3 female vocalists of all time, it would look like this: Sarah Vaughan, Leontine Price, and Christie Dashiell. Christie came to Howard University with a little more jazz proficiency than the average student. The Washington Post said she kicked her teacher's butt. I don't think that's fake news, but
I don't know, and I can't agree with that because my teachers are some of my, like, I don't want to say idols, but people I really, look up to and I'm constantly inspired by. Mm-hmm. So, while I don't agree with that, I was not kicking anybody's butt in college. I do think I came to Howard with maybe a little bit more of a background in jazz than some of the other students did, mm-hmm. just because my dad is a jazz musician. Mm-hmm. So maybe that might be why she said that, but that's not true. Shout out to Miss Settles because she's killing.
I love the last record, Time on Mine. And I think what you do with jazz is so unique and modern and tasteful and respectful of the culture. But you've had like a lot of mainstream exposure. Why waste, as some people say? Why would you waste all that exposure and your gift on jazz? Like, why not just like go twerk in a video, get your little pop trap money real quick?
I mean, the money's
The money is there. The money, my God. The money is tempting, right?
But I'm so passionate about this music. I'm so passionate about jazz and I guess Black American music. I'm really passionate about it. Mm-hmm. So I'm not really interested in notoriety or fame or success in like the I guess like the basic way. I'm just interested in spreading knowledge about the music, making it accessible to people that may not know about the music. And that's why I choose to really stick with jazz. Although I delve outside of the jazz world, jazz is always, I think, my home base. So no twerking in my future. No. I don't think, not right now at least.
How did the Janet Jackson cover come about?
Yeah, that was such a cool thing. Like I met Marcus Strickland, who is the arranger and saxophonist on that song, that arrangement. I met him through a great drummer, Otis Brown. We all performed at Bohemian Caverns when the Caverns was open. And I think a couple months after that gig, Marcus got in touch with me and told me he was doing a Janet Jackson cover and heard my voice on it as he was creating. So I was just like, yeah, I'm down. I love Janet growing up. I actually had a crush on her growing up. So it was, kind of cool to see something like that from my childhood years come back around. Yeah.
So the show is called Grits and Garri, and it's all about exploring the totality of the diaspora through music, though. And I am curious, though, because your husband is from Liberia. Yeah. What was it like bringing together the two families, the two cultures?
Yeah, it was a challenge in some ways, but it was also very easy in others. So when I met Ray, my husband, I didn't know he was Liberian. I had no idea until, we got to know each other. And he told me he's very, if you don't know, like his accent is very American. Everything about him I thought was like super Americanized, but as I've gotten to know him, I see so much of his culture in him. So especially when I met his family, everyone has a super strong Liberian accent. So one, I had a hard time understanding what they were saying. And for a while, I thought that they were talking about me, but they weren't. It was just like their way of kind of like getting to know me. They would play jokes on me. They like shoved a fish head in my face. But it was like really, me, this American girl, I was like, what is that? But it was like really endearing when I look back on it.
The fish head in your face was endearing?
It was like, at the time I was like disgusted, like, oh my God, why would they do that? But now that I know his family, I could tell they liked me. Them doing that was like, okay, she's cool. So Ray has been in the States since he was 10. So he was in Liberia during the war, and because of that, he and his family are super, super close. And I had to get used to doing everything with his family, and like kind of coming second to his family at the beginning of the process. Like if his mom or his aunts or his grandmother needed anything, he would stop what we were doing and rush to their side, which is beautiful. But as you're trying to get to know someone, it's like hello. So now on the other side of it, now that we're married, seeing that transition where now I kind of come first and they are getting used to that is cool too. The food is also amazing, like Liberian food. Liberian jollof is, they say it's the best. I don't know, but I love Liberian jollof.
We might have to like launch a poll.
I know.
Well, a couple of Nigerians in the house are saying no.
They're like, boo. They say it's
jollof wars.
I will be a taste tester all the way. I have no problem doing that. But yeah, it was cool. And of course, I had some people in my family that thought like the typical thing, like, oh, you're marrying an African man, he's gonna boss you around, and you know, you have to stand your ground with him. But that's not our relationship at all. He's very much supportive of everything I do, and I am supportive of what he does. So it's cool.
Beautiful. Yeah. And you're a businesswoman, right? You're about your craft. You tour yourself. Yeah. You're married though. Like, so how do you go about finding work-life balance as an entertainer and a musician? Like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I'm constantly thinking about, especially now. Once we got married, well, even before we got married, I was away like filming a show, and then I went to grad school in New York. So we were used to having that distance. But when you're dating, it's one thing, and when you're married, another. So now that we're married and I'm gone, I can't say a lot, but enough. We're kind of navigating through that and understanding some gigs aren't more important than my marriage. So sometimes I do have to say no. And although it's hard, I think to me, my marriage and my family is so much more important than my career. And I'm learning that, yeah, music is great. And I used to say it was my everything, but it's not. It can't be. I want to be a person and not a musician. I don't want to identify myself as Christie the singer, Christie the musician. So that's why my family life and my marriage is like so important to me. But I can't say that I can't say that I really understand the balance or that I've gotten the hang of it yet. I'm still learning. And now, you know, kids are a huge topic now.
I'm sure.
So, you know, I can't imagine once kids enter our lives what the change will be then. You know, I'm learning.
Well, please don't stop making music.
No, never. That's never an option.
please don't stop that. Like, I need another album. I need Time on Mine Part 2. So speaking about like Christie, the artist, the musician, the vocalist, what is this about? Like you know, catching some nerves about playing live on stage. Like we kind of IG stalked you a little bit, right? And I quote, you wrote this: "Working up enough courage to sing and play at my gig tonight. The nerves be getting me, man. Not you, not the great Christie Dashiell.
They get me. I like so many people, am full of anxiety and nerves, like all the time. Not just on stage, but all the time. So I really want to push myself. I've been saying this for like years now, but I really want to push myself to play piano and sing. Because I really enjoy it. And I used to do it a lot when I was younger and was more naive and didn't understand like all the loadedness behind nerves. So I admire myself back then when I wasn't nervous to do that. Now I'm praying and practicing and hoping that I'll be able to do it, play and sing for myself soon.
So, I feel like the jazz world is still mourning the loss of Geri Allen, and we will be for a while. You had an opportunity to play with her, work with her. What did you learn from Miss Geri?
I learned so much, and it's definitely been a huge loss for our world. I worked with her with Afro Blue. She is a Howard alumni, so she was constantly back at Howard. She taught at Howard for a while, and she and my father were even in school together. So she would come back and work with Afro Blue a lot, and in that time, she never really said much, and I don't think the students had as much opportunity to talk with her as I, wish, or maybe I was too nervous. It could have just been me. But just watching her, I could see that she was like sort of shy, but really powerful. She like was regal to me. Like anytime she walked in the room, I just like would stop and stare. And like, I wanted to write like her for years. Like her use of like polychords and all these like extents and advanced harmonies were something I really looked up to, and still do now. And she also was big on like sacred music and jazz. So obviously she was a spiritual woman. But yeah, I just learned a lot about how powerful women are, just watching her, and the strength that she didn't even have to say. She just exuded it. So yeah, very inspiring.
Yeah, I think like another artist in her vein, Mary Lou Williams.
Yeah.
So another artist whose music, I think will just be around for generations to come. I have, I guess, somewhat of a Jerry Allen story. So my great-grandfather taught her.
Whoa.
When she was at Howard. And I always said to myself, well, maybe one day I'll get a chance to meet her. And I've had so many opportunities to do that. But I passed on those opportunities. And I think her passing was a wake-up call to me. Like when you have the legends, when you have the legends around you, you need to, take advantage of that and like go seek their wisdom.
For sure.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I think when I was a student and working with her with Afro Blue, I probably worked with her every year I was in Afro Blue, which was 4 or 5 years. And even after I graduated, I was just so nervous and scared to talk to her. But I feel like you, I wish that I had taken the opportunity to just tell her how much I looked up to her and just like soak all of her wisdom up.
Ashe. So the name of the program is Grits and Garri. How do you like your grits?
Oh, man. I like them with butter and salt and pepper and a little bit of cheese.
No bacon bits?
Nah. I can't mess with bacon.
Why? Okay, I mean, please tell me why.
This is strange, okay? This is going to sound really strange and anti-everything. I never was a fan of bacon, ever.
But
I recently became vegan. It's been a beautiful thing.
Congratulations.
I thought it was going to be terrible, but I love it. So now, I don't eat bacon for obvious reasons. But before, I just never liked it. I love turkey bacon, though. Like, who does that? Who likes turkey bacon over bacon?
Cool. Do we have any questions from IG Live?
Yeah, actually.
Okay.
Okay, which musicians have shaped you to be the artist that you are today?
Who's that question from?
Was it early?
Okay.
Early.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, peeps. IG Live. Oh, that's such a good question. So I have a couple different answers. This could be a long answer, but I'll try to keep it short. I vocally always loved and still love Sarah Vaughan. I got into Carmen McRae because one of my good friends swore by Carmen McRae. So Carmen also, and Shirley Horn. Shirley Horn because she plays and sings, and that's something I want to do. And as far as like, the runs and the more R&B soul kind of things, I really like practiced and studied Mary Mary. Every Mary Mary run, every single one I learned. Writing, Jerry Allen. For a long time I was trying to write like her. And I love Stevie Wonder's writing, his lyrics, and Donny Hathaway. And I could just keep going and going, but I'll stop there.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. I'm going to bring you back in a little bit to do a very, very special collaboration with one of my favorite guitarists.
Yes, thank you.
And then one day we'll have the Jollof battle. Liberian Jollof versus Nigerian.
Let me know because I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Peace.
Bye.
Washington, D.C. is not just a federal hub. It's a musical and cultural mecca. The city is packed with talented musicians, and Dokun Oke is as gifted as they come. Dokun came here from Nigeria, where he played guitar for Femi Kuti. I've come to know him as a humble master of his craft.
Well, my name is Dokun Oke. You know, I like people to call me Dokun, which is my root, my African name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dokun, you are a force, I hear. A force in the Nigerian music scene. That's what your bio said. Is it true?
Well, I don't, I can't say, it's what people think,
Yeah. I mean, you are like a very humble and super nice guy. But how does a nice guy like yourself end up in gang fights after concerts?
Over there in Nigeria, it's a survival. The security is not guaranteed, especially if you're a musician coming back from a gig at night. We play late 3, so, and then I don't have a car.
Over there.
I mean, that was when I was starting out. I don't have a car, so I have to get home. So then you have to take some places, maybe some area you don't know, you're not familiar with, but you have to get home. So, these things happen. So, at a point in time, I thought it's like a normal...
So you thought it was normal to get in a fight after a gig? Somebody to steal your guitar? They stole your guitar, man?
I thought it's a normal, like it's the way we live. It's the world, even, where I live, it's like, hey, you got to survive, that's the life that I think, that's life, you never think, okay, just leave.
So, tell me about playing in Femi Kuti's band.
Wow, that's actually, one of my, tough band to get in.
Yeah? How did it happen?
A friend of mine just actually didn't want to go because, I don't know anybody in the band. No support. So, a friend just came and be like, I trust in you. I know if this guy hears you, that's it.
He'll love it.
So he just came to get me, forced me down there. So, we went for the audition, and then it was actually not in the room. So I don't know how I was able to hear me, and then he came into the room and be like, get his number and his address.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know, how he was able to hear me, So he just came in the room and be like, get his number and his address. Then the following week they called me, and then I started playing with the band.
So, but I'm sure they heard other guitarists. So what was it about you? Did they ever say, okay, you were special because we really like this about your playing? Did anybody ever tell you what set you apart?
I mean, from what I've been hearing, people always talk about my tone. And then at the time, I don't have so much theory knowledge. So the 3 scale that I know, I think I make use of them so that people will hear the feel of the music in my solo, It's not like just playing scale and there's feel the music and then be able to play something tasteful within the genre.
So you left Nigeria and came to the United States to study at Berkeley,
yes,
right, in Boston. But on your way to Boston, you stopped in Minnesota. What was popping in Minnesota?
Yeah, I sometimes try not to let people know. At the end of the day, people know what kind of that's a big
It's a big jump, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of difference, because the weather coming from Nigeria and down, and then even when I moved down to US, Minnesota, during winter.
During the winter, you moved from Nigeria to Minnesota in the winter.
Yeah, and then the reason is because I have a friend that I can stay with. So when I was coming, I didn't even know, I didn't have a winter jacket.
How are you alive?
I just, when I got out of the plane, then I know that, whoa, this is different. This is not what I expect, So, the person that came to get me was surprised, like, don't you check the weather? I'm like, in Africa, we don't check. We just wake up and then it's sunny, the weather is nice. We just go out. So, it's really, as far as the weather, it's a big difference.
A big adjustment. I'm sure. So, did you just finish at Berkeley? Or are you finishing, or?
Yeah, I just finished.
You just finished. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I read on Facebook about like your popularity in Boston. Like, you walk down the street and people shout out your name, right? But you also make time to teach kids. I think you teach adults as well. Like,
yes.
Where do you get this sense of giving back, like the importance of giving back? Where does that come from?
I mean, from like when I was starting out, I don't have a teacher, so I kind of remember the struggles, of not having teacher, and have to like figure out some things, by yourself, which will take time. Unless if you have someone that knows a thing and then that can teach you, then you are gaining time. So this is like one of my main concern, and also I think about the future of music. So that things are passed across to the next generation.
So what were your expectations of America? I'm sure you had a few. And your reality here, now that you've been here for how many years?
Like 8 years more than.
So you've been here in America for 8 years. How does the reality of living in America compare to your expectations?
Yeah, it's something that I never prepare my mind for, and I don't even know. Because back home, you never wake up to think about your color. You can look at the mirror, you can't even process like, you are black or something. You can't even think about it. You just look at the mirror, oh yeah, fine, comb your hair and then go out. So, you never think of, you're a threat or you're caused, or people think you're caused, or your color is caused, So, coming out of Nigeria, I didn't know, I never prepared my mind. Because I didn't see these, I'd never really thought about it. Actually, my first kind of experience was like in Germany. So, it was like...
Your first experience with racism?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was in Germany. I had a little bit. So when moving to America, then I know that I have a problem with my skin, with the way I look, I have a problem. And now to learn more about my people here, it's something that I just cannot believe. I just can't put it together. I just can't, because over there, even you see people different from you. You are happy, it's party, you enjoy, you don't, but now going outside, and then people see you like, they just want to kill you. So it's I just so that kind of makes me to dig deep into my history, into a lot of things that I don't know before.
Right. So, you're black in America
now.
Yeah. But your experience interacting with African Americans, like, is that different than what you expected? Like, what have your experiences been?
Interacting with Black Americans from here, you know, it's always about learning. You know, things I don't know, so that they can put me through. And then I've had friends, a lot of friends, who have been really helpful, you know, to telling me a lot of stuff. You know, they don't see me as like, oh, okay, you know, yeah, no, not this one,
right?
You know. And then the most interesting part is like what I do. You know, you do music, and people want to be close to you, you know, because you bring joy to people. So people are always like looking for ways to talk to me, and then me to like, okay, you know, talk to them, and you know, get to know them, which has been like a positive thing and something that I can hold on to, that keeps me going here in US. Yeah, so you know, like through like my interaction with people, I was able to play different kind of music, because sometimes, you know, when I first moved down here, it was hard for me to hear what people say. Then they're so surprised, like, you can learn this music, you can play this music. So to me, it's like, okay, what's up? You know, so to them, it's like, okay, you can't even hear us, but you can play this type. So it's like, wow, that's good. You know, so, you know, like loving people, open-minded. I'm a very open-minded person. You know, I hear you out. Like, okay, if you have anything, any different, you know, something different from what I'm thinking, just tell me, and then, you know, we can try to work together. Because that's one thing that I've learned from here. You know, back in Africa, it's all about authoritative kind of a thing. But here it's more like listening. Let's work together. Let's make it happen.
Okay. Speaking of listening, so when is the first time you had an experience like with jazz and funk and R&B, like more so like the American art forms? Was it when you got here or before in Nigeria?
Before in Nigeria, you know, I always listen. I listen to West Montgomery, you know, and then I also listen to Tupac. Okay. And then I like B.B. King. Okay. So these are the people that got me more interested in.
That's a very interesting mix.
Yeah. Yeah.
West Montgomery, Tupac, and B.B. King. Okay.
And then George Benson also, you know. Oh. You know, that's and then, you know, like I wanted to go to Berkeley. You know, right? That has been like but then I wanted to like be able to learn, because it's not all about going to school. You know, it's also, you have to learn from the street, from playing with people who are in that genre. You know.
So the internet loves a good starter pack, right? What's in the Nigerian music starter pack? Like if you had to list 5 artists or songs that people need to know that will get them started on their pathway to understanding the beauty that is Nigerian music, who's on the list? Who's in the starter pack?
I mean, should I say from the older artists or the newer artists?
Let's name some. Go ahead, name some.
Okay, I would say like Sonny Ade and Obey. Those are definitely a pioneer. Okay. Of Nigerian music. From the new, you know, then you talk about Tiwa Savage, and then there's this guy that I like, Flavor. Okay. Yeah, you know, and this lady again, Yemi Alade. Yeah. Okay. So, and also, you know, we also have this guy is a reggae artist, Majek Fashek. You know, Majek Fashek too. Okay. Yeah, it's nice.
Very nice. What was I going to ask you? So you didn't have any teachers, so nobody mentored you? You're self-taught.
Yeah,
on guitar.
You know, like self-taught. Like, you know, I mean, I took some little here and there from people, you know, but because of my urge, because I'm just like, when I'm hungry for something, I just go for it. No matter what's gonna stop me, I just, no, you don't want to stop me. I just go. I make sure I get it. Yeah.
Okay. So the show is called Grits and Garri. Can you tell people what Garri is?
Garri is, I think, I would say West Africa, because they call it different names.
What do you call it?
But in Nigeria, we call it Garri. Some other West African, they call it different names. But, we call it Garri, And then with that, you can make a lot of things out of it. You can drink it like cereal. Put sugar, groundnut, and you can eat it with bacon, meat and stuff like that. And then you can boil hot water.
Hot water.
Yeah, and put it and whatever, pound it, to solidify, and that we call eba.
How do you like your Garri?
Good.
You like it?
You took it.
How do you like it made?
For me, it depends on how, what I want. Sometimes I crave for just drinking. Sometimes I want it pound together and so that I can eat it with stew and stuff like that. So depending on.
Cool. Do we have a question from IG Live? The questions? Okay, cool. Do you have a question for me?
The only question that I have for you is, for what you've done, what is your secret?
What for what I've done?
Yeah.
Like in life?
Yeah, in the music sector.
Oh, I don't think there's any secret. It's just I try to keep my vision clear. Okay. And every single day take some small step toward that vision that I see. And I've learned that even the smallest action counts, whether that's being productive or just sitting at home watching a different world during the day. Like that time, I've learned to be. I think what I'm trying to say is that I've learned how to be better about time management, and then just hard work. Yeah. I work very hard.
Oh, nice. I see. And then a few times that I've had the opportunity to talk to you, I see that you know a lot of different music from different part of Africa. How did you get exposed to?
I have to thank my grandmother for that. Actually, she would travel a lot and then bring back music. And I remember the CDs at a very young age, the CDs, right, that made an impression on me were the old Putumayo collections. I don't know if you know those, but there were these different collections of artists and songs from various parts of Africa. Wow. And that's how I got put on to African music. That's how grandma was the plug early on.
That's beautiful.
That, and then also I was in a group called the DC Youth Ensemble. Okay. And there was a subset of the ensemble called Taratibu. There's an instructor that teaches South African gumboot dancing. And so as a part of being in that Taratibu group, we would sing a lot of songs in Swahili and some songs in Swana. And in my church, the church I used to go to, we sang the Lord's Prayer in Swahili. So that just made me want to hear more and dig and find other artists. Wow. Yeah.
I guess that's evident in some of your composition, and then the harmony, because you are able to absorb a lot of music from Africa, and even for me too, moving here, gathering all these experience with different genre, different style, kind of shape my album that I'm planning on, so I think that's good.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
You ready for this collab? Christie Dashiell mentioned the now closed Bohemian Caverns. That subterranean venue was 1/3 of the musical melting pot that made the corner of 11th and U Street Northwest the place to be as an artist. You had jazz in the caverns, and upstairs at Live, perhaps hip-hop or Afrobeat or go-go bands, you name it. Grits and Garri. This program is a reflection of the Bohemian Caverns Live spirit. I believe we'd see a Christie Dashiell Dokun Oke collaboration if that space was open today.
All of me, why not take all of me? Can't you see I'm no good without you? Take my lips, I want to lose them. Take my arms, 'cause I'll never, never use them. Your goodbye left me with eyes that cry, how can I go on, dear, without you? You took the part that once was my heart, so why not take all of me? Goodbye left me with eyes that cry. How can I go on, dear, without you? You took the part that once was my heart, so why not take all of me? Yeah. I take all of me. I'll never use my arms, so why not take all of me? Take all of me.
I live for moments like this. We may speak different languages, but we all speak the language of music. Music is universal. My name is Carolyn Malachi. Thanks for listening to Grits and Garri.
I can't, but they
have their own language, right? Their own English.
They do, and his grandmother and his mom back home speak the language. He doesn't, though. So I need to get some lessons from grandma. But their like English is so broken sometimes that it sounds like another language to me.
Yeah.
I feel like the Nigerian accent I can understand, but sometimes Liberian accent I can't.
Yeah, we have Nigerian broken English too. It's like every country have their own broken English. It's hard.
Yeah, it's really hard to understand. And like I'll try to I'm trying to think what I would say. I would say like I'm hungry, and he's like that doesn't like stop. That's not right. I'm like, dang.